India's rise on the global stage is one of the most fascinating stories in modern geopolitics. With over 1.4 billion people, the world's largest democracy isn't just growing, it's transforming. From rapid economic growth and military modernization to strategic diplomacy, India is fast becoming a key player in global affairs. But how did this happen and what does it mean for the future? Let's break it down. First, let's dive into the economy. Since the 1990s, India has been undergoing a major transformation. After decades of economic protectionism, the country opened up to global markets, and the results have been dramatic. Today, India is the world's fifth largest economy with a GDP of around $3.7 trillion. Projections suggest it could become the third largest by 2030, potentially reaching $10 trillion by 2035. India is also a hub for innovation. Cities like Bengaluru have emerged as global tech centers, and the country's IT industry alone is expected to exceed $227 billion in revenue in 2024. The pharmaceutical industry is another powerhouse, ranking third in terms of production globally, while India is also the largest provider of generic drugs, exporting to over 200 countries. And let's not forget about space exploration. India's successful Mars mission in 2014 cost just $74 million, a fraction of what other nations have spent, highlighting the country's growing influence in this high-tech field. But India's rise isn't just about big numbers, it's about potential. India has a young and rapidly growing workforce with a median age of around 28 years. By 2030, India is expected to add 110 million workers to its labor force, making it a prime destination for global companies seeking talent. Major corporations like Apple, Google, and Microsoft see India as a key player in their global strategies, with Apple recently opening its first physical retail stores in the country. However, growth isn't without its challenges. India still faces economic inequality, with around 10% of the population living below the poverty line, and the need for massive infrastructure development remains pressing. Over $1.5 trillion is required for infrastructure improvements by 2030, particularly in transportation, energy, and urban planning. Now let's talk about India's military power. With one of the largest armed forces in the world, numbering over 1.4 million active personnel, India is a formidable global military power. It ranks third in military expenditure, spending over $76 billion annually. In recent years, India has modernized its defense forces, investing in advanced technologies like the Tejas fighter jet, nuclear-powered submarines, and ballistic missile defense systems. India's military power extends beyond its borders, particularly in the Indian Ocean, where 80% of the world's maritime oil trade passes through. India's naval forces are becoming more critical, with the commissioning of its first domestically built aircraft carrier, INS Vikrant, in 2022. This gives India significant strategic leverage in the region. But here's where it gets even more interesting. India's military strategy isn't just about securing its borders, it's about balancing China's influence. The two countries have faced off in areas like the Himalayas and the South China Sea. In response, India has strengthened alliances like the Quad, partnering with the US, Japan, and Australia to promote stability and counterbalance China's reach in the Indo-Pacific. So what about diplomacy? India's foreign policy has evolved dramatically. No longer strictly non-aligned, India today plays a complex balancing act between global powers. It's deepening its partnership with the United States, with bilateral trade reaching over $191 billion in 2022, and defense deals like the purchase of S-400 missile systems from Russia, keeping India's options open. India is also part of BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, an alliance that seeks to challenge Western dominance in global finance. Additionally, India has been pushing for a permanent seat on the United Nations Security Council. With its status as a nuclear power and contributions to peacekeeping missions, India's claim for a seat grows stronger. One of India's biggest geopolitical challenges is its relationship with China. The two countries have faced tensions, most notably during the 2020 Galwan Valley clash, where 20 Indian soldiers lost their lives. Despite their economic ties, bilateral trade hit $135 billion in 2022, India and China remain strategic rivals, especially in Asia. But what's fascinating is how India has balanced its relationships with both China and the US, avoiding full alignment with either while protecting its own interests. So, where does this all lead? India's rise as a global power is just beginning, but it comes with challenges. Domestically, India must address economic inequality, improve infrastructure, and manage social tensions. On the global stage, it needs to maintain a delicate balance between powers like the US and China, all while navigating complex regional dynamics with Pakistan and other neighboring countries. But here's the big takeaway. India's growing influence, both economically and militarily, means it will play an increasingly critical role in shaping the 21st century. Whether it's in global trade, military strategy, or even space exploration, India's rise is one of the most important stories to watch. That's a quick look at India's rise as a global power. If you found this breakdown helpful, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more geopolitical insights, and let me know in the comments what you think about India's role in the world. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.